wish there was.
All right, we're here.
Oh, I was just going.
We did it.
I was talking about protein shakes and how I wish there was something like this protein shake that had less protein. Because this thing's giving me like 60% of my daily dose of protein in one shake. That's a lot, man.
That's
Get
nothing.
that number
Ask
knocked down to
Arnold
like 30%.
how much protein, what percentage of protein he drinks in a day. It's more than
I don't think
60.
Arnold drinks like Slim Fast style protein shakes, though. I think he just eats whole chickens and dozens
Oh,
of eggs.
and shakes. Yeah.
You think he shakes it up?
I think you have to at some point.
But
I don't know if he does
his
anymore.
protein shakers, like it comes in those 5-gallon buckets that has like wolf piss and creatine in it. Like it's not like it's not a Slim Fast type of thing.
No. No, he's mixing them himself. None of that pre-mix stuff.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It reminds me of time so that's something I were on Beaver. Actually, we're on High Island, one of the abandoned islands in the Beaver Island archipelago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was drunk when she packed our day pack to go hiking, to go on like a long, grueling hike, and she packed like 2 bottles of water, 4 protein shakes, I don't know, probably a fifth of rum, and it almost killed me. We ran out of things to drink like an hour into it, and I'm like, "We got any more water?" She's like, "Actually, no." And I was probably pissing orange juice at the end of that night.
She was concerned about the calories. I mean, protein is the longest lasting type of calorie.
You don't want to break your muscles down on a long, grueling hike like that. You got to have plenty of protein to keep them packed and ready to go.
Yeah.
I guess I need to get I think we'll probably take a few minutes to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk badasses today. Welcome everybody.
Aaron's volume's low. Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Well, do you want to bring me up then, Jim?
It's a real legitimate question if I can or not.
What?
If I have the overhead here. Boy, I have it on my mic, that's for sure. Yeah, I got some.
I feel like it's time for us to rebalance our audio.
How's that?
I just found out one reason that when I switch from one earbud to the next, you guys seem extremely louder is because when I switch the earbud, the Windows somehow switches the audio interface from what it's supposed to be using to something else, and one of those audio inputs is just way louder than the other.
Oh, that didn't help a damn thing. That didn't help a damn thing.
I haven't touched shit, and I'm speaking right into the microphone.
I can take input 5 up a little bit.
This is why I wish we had a physical studio. God, it was so much nicer when we just had this shit dialed in.
Yeah, it was a lot easier without the layer of Discord there.
Layer of Discord. So this is Badasses Stream 01. 2022 01. This is a multi-year event at this point, guys.
All right. Is that any better?
Testing 1 2 3. This is me speaking in a normal voice. This is not my excited screaming voice, but it's representative of how I'm going to talk in a podcast. Does it sound good?
Much better. Okay. Let me drop my volume just a hair.
Jim has a nice guitar. He's a good player too. I heard that there was a Brothers Jim concert going on at your house while your brother's in town. I'm sorry I missed it. Because your brother can fucking shred.
That's the thing. Like you'd say I'm good, and I just recently heard him pick up a guitar, and I'm like, oh, I'm not good. I'm not good.
I mean,
he's very good.
He could professionally play guitar.
Yeah, he was in a band for a long time, wrote a lot of music, so yeah, he's good. And the thing that impresses me about his play is he can just by knowing like what notes essentially or like remembering a song, he can pick out the notes and play the song, whereas I need to have like memorized the song to be able to play it.
Yeah, he can play things by ear.
Yeah, he's very good
by
at
sight, by touch.
We essentially
by taste.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I let him taste a couple songs and he played them. No, we essentially went through like half of the '90s catalog, and he was just like playing every song from Crackers Low to, I don't know, Tragic Kingdom stuff.
Crackers Low.
Yeah,
What the hell is that?
that song from the '90s called "Low" by Cracker.
I
No,
don't got that.
no. Somebody
I
in
don't
chat
got
knows
that
what I'm talking
reference.
about. Not Get Low. No.
Can't one of you build a shed for podcasting? Your commutes would be very short. Man, I thought I just recently watched Bo Burnham's Inside Outtakes, and it reminded me of he's got this like kind of backyard production studio shed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, that would be pretty cool. It wouldn't be that hard to trench out a line for electricity, and you know. But on the other hand, I guess it's like it'd be the easiest thing to do would be to slightly modify one of the spaces we have in our own home to do recording. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
it's
wouldn't be
just
hard to do down here in the basement.
yeah.
I just would have to be sure that my upstairs was usable for my own space, because right now it's
Right.
not. It's too hot.
And
I
and
just need to get an AC
it wouldn't be something I think we do every day because that's the other thing. It's like kind of like it's kind of an imposition when people are coming over your house every day, you know, to do work in a way that like
Right.
you doing it is not, you know.
Uh huh.
So, but yeah, it would definitely be kind of useful.
Mm-hmm.
Not kind of, it would be useful. How many people are taking? I wish there's a way to see. It's not immediately obvious how I can see how many people are watching our YouTube stuff.
I see 34 total, and when I click on it, it says 4 on YouTube and 30
Oh,
on
so you see the
Twitch.
total. Where do you see the? Oh, you got the restream
Yeah,
interface.
it's
I need
through
to
OBS.
figure. I need to get in that. Yeah. Uh,
I don't know if you can. You might be able to go to restream.io and see that
Goose,
information.
Goose, you are 100% correct. Daniel did write and perform the Walking Dead introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Is that his also friend Lance on there, or did he do that
Yeah.
100% himself?
No, that's
Oh,
back
okay.
when they were still in a band.
Mysteriana.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good stuff. Their band died a horrible death.
We should build the studio shed. We should be underground. It should be the halfway point in our tunnels.
It has to be,
We'll
otherwise
have a
Lawnmower
vestibule.
Man will have a field
Yeah.
day with us.
Underground studio, the one way to free ourselves from the tyranny of the Lawnmower Man.
Mm-hmm. Got to be deep enough though, to where his rumblings won't be heard through the earth.
True. It's true. Freddie, thanks for the year and a half of Twitch Prime subs. How's things going? I guess I should open up Streamlabs and see if I've missed any others.
Sure.
Let's see here. Aw, damn it. Aw, damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I did miss a couple. C Drive with just a short, oh no, you got 25 total Twitch Prime subs. Thank you for that. Appreciate all the Bezos thievery. Beanhole with 28 months of tier 1 support, and Medicated Wookie supporting our premium content with 15 months of tier 1 support. Appreciate all that, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I guess since I can see all the chats from both things just with Twitch, I don't have to go to YouTube.
Oh, yeah. The wonders of technology.
Simo, if you do the tunnel and finish, just let us know. Just let us know when you get to the bit. Just thump on the basement, and I'll jackhammer. I'll sledgehammer a entrance to it. Because yeah, that would do a lot of the work for us.
Got a bug down here. It's driving me insane. I am.
Thanks, Slappy. I noticed that like a lot of people watch her VODs, a lot more than I would have thought. Like we've got like
Yeah.
4, 5, 600 views on some of these things. I'm like, wow, there must be a lot of people going back and checking these out.
Yeah, I mean, we have what, a few thousand followers on Twitch.
Yeah, it's up there, and even more on YouTube. Like I think
Yeah.
like I'm curious to see if the YouTube stuff takes off over the summer. I don't think it seems like for the movie nights maybe not as much. But for this, like, there's no real difference between the Twitch and YouTube experience. So if people have not been doing Twitch because they're old and they're boring and their kids just shit to do, then you got YouTube, the adult Twitch.
I prefer YouTube because the content is typically more produced, whereas Twitch encourages raw content, and I like my content cooked. I don't know about you.
Fucking raw. Lynch Lady, thanks for the 300 bits because I miss hanging out for bald movies on Twitch. Well, next week we're gonna have maybe you just can't do it on Thursday nights, but we're gonna have Over the Top. Is it still available? Let me check. I swear to God, if Bezos takes this, I'm going to war. Amazon Prime Video. Over the Top. Because we did cross into July. Wait, what the fuck?
Do I need to check?
It says it's available on Prime Video, but it says video currently unavailable.
Let's see.
To watch in your... This motherfucker.
Oh, he struck. It's gone. It's gone.
This motherfucker. This has been available to stream for 4 months, Jim. Why would he take it from us? Why?
I think I said something disparaging about him last time we streamed. That's got to be it.
God damn it. I was so looking forward to this.
Yeah. Over the Top is 30 minutes of excellent movie and an hour of shit you can point and laugh at.
Well, you know what the hell is available to watch? Commando.
What?
We might have upgraded.
Get out of here. I mean, Commando is obviously the superior movie. No, I don't see Commando. Where do you see Commando?
Just punch it into your live watch screen. It's gotta.
I just did. I don't see it. I see Commando 2, The Black Money Trail, made in 2017.
I'm seeing Commando 1985 says Prime Video. Oh, I purchased a video. That's why I can watch it. Shit.
Ah. Yeah, no, it's not
He-Man.
available.
Well, they don't have Die Hard 3 either. The Masters of the Universe. No.
Every Twitch email says a Shaun of the Dead watch party. Yeah, there's something inconsistent about Restream.io's titles versus what Twitch says. Because I noticed that last time. It didn't update it until after the stream started or something. And it was very weird and bad. So I might have to manually change the titles of things before I go live.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up.
I'm so fucking pissed about this shit. Captain Captiva now. Steve and Anthony are tearing it up for bald moves or pulp culture references are hilarious. Well, thank you. I'll let them know you said that. Unfortunately, I don't have time to listen to a lot of their podcasts.
I mean, I assume... No. They are very good. I enjoy their shows when I do get a chance to listen to them.
Freddie says things are good. Headed to Seattle at the end of August to visit my older brother. I'll be a guest on a couple of episodes of his podcast while I'm there. Be sure to send a Baldwin Community link so they can judge my performance. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's his podcast? I can't fucking believe they took Over the Top. Who the shit is clamoring for the Over the Top rights? On Badass Month? Nah, this is provocation. God damn it. I want to rage against Machine, and there's no way to rage against it.
Nope.
I want to smash his glass balls in Seattle. I want to go over the top on his balls. I want to shift my grip on them. Smash them into some padded surface on a table. God damn it.
Oh, there's an unbeknownst to us benefit of streaming to YouTube. Gabe says Twitch is blocked in where he works, and apparently YouTube is not.
Yeah, that's another cool feature.
Mm-hmm.
Way to block your dystopic IT Overwatch. We should probably. I don't know how long this badass stream is going to be. Let me open up my notes for it. Because I'm also going to have to, at some point, edit down the Stranger Things email. I can do that real quick. It'll take me about 10 minutes. But maybe in between topic shifts, Jim can entertain people. I scramble to do that. Because, oh my God, I cannot believe how prolific our Stranger Things feedback was. There's no way I'm going to be able to read it all. I probably discarded 2/3 of it before I even got to the document. And it still wasn't enough. Badass podcast 4. So we're going to be talking today about.
Okay. Don't know where the idea that I would dance came from, but that's not happening.
So the first stream, we're going to recap the 3 C's, design the badass Hall of Fame / Mount Rushmore. Okay, yeah. I got that'd be a good at least 15-20 minutes, right?
Yeah, this will be a fun one, I think.
Freddie's brother is a competitor. Oh, well, most of our friends are. So
yeah,
covers TV shows. Really, though, his podcast covers weirder stuff like Doom Patrol. Interesting. I could do it. The Doom Patrol pod. What did he think of season 3? They do cover the boys. I'll be going in for What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, that's getting close, isn't it? Then do another podcast. What's his link? Give us a link, man.
A link to YouTube?
Yeah, his podcast. His brother's podcast.
I was gonna throw the link in.
Is he doing it? Is he doing it for a hobby? Or is he doing it like is he trying to go at it as a business? How much traffic does he get? Would he benefit from a megaphone account? Could we get him hooked up on some span advertising?
Yeah,
watching it pod.
Monetize those teens. Watching it.
How long has he been doing this? About. I'm always interested in independent podcasts. Okay, well, that's how I started, Freddie. So I don't know. Give him a warning. Suck up your whole fucking life.
No, you got to control that beast. You got to tame the beast before it becomes too powerful to tame. That's my word of advice to budding podcasters: is set a workable work-life balance before you get into monetizing. Because if you don't, you're fucked.
But what if? Oh, we got to get some responses back to Second Age boys. They put some stuff in their Discord. But what if you strangle the beast before it gets big enough to ride? See, I think
it's better to do that than to ride a beast that's too big.
I think this is a burnt out entrepreneur talking. Anyone that wants to make it probably has to make some work-life balance sacrifices to make it work. Unless you've got like big funding, in which case you don't need my advice. But, like, I don't.
It's exceptionally hard to claw those back once you are successful, though. That's the problem. At least that's what I've found with this, because we're not successful enough to just say, fuck it, we don't care if we lose a bunch of subscribers because we're not doing all the things we used to do. But we're too big to like stop doing those things, and I don't know. It's yeah.
Yeah, we got the mid-size.
Choke that beast.
We got the mid-size problem.
Choke that beast before it chokes you.
Thanks, Alina. That means a lot. He's been doing this for a few years. He's had a podcast called High Command, where him and one of his coworkers would get stoned and do commentary on Star Trek TNG episodes. I mean, this is sounding a lot like early Bald Move. We had Blue Yonder. I guess Jim had Gong Radio before that.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's a relic of the old internet. It's 2006.
What point do you consider? I mean, that's the thing. It's like I I started doing podcasts just to do it, and like I didn't have any idea to make money on it. And then, so at what point are you? Am I like? I guess, and that's the thing. Success always changes. Like
Yeah.
success initially meant we could pay our bills. I think success now means I've got financial security through the podcast. Like I could help my kid out with college. You know, I don't have to like live super precariously. I can afford my health insurance, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting screeners to true market success, yeah. That is something that like has been a very recent development that does feel like we've gotten a notch of attained a notch of success, another notch of success. Okay, are we gonna do this thing?
Yeah, I think we got to record this for posterity.
Well, this will be a fun, free-flowing podcast. So I'll be referring to the audience if you guys got any suggestions and stuff. I'm not saying I'll use everyone because if they suck, if your ideas are bad, I'm not going to use them.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we'll make fun of them.
Also,
actually, we'll tear you to shreds.
I could just miss your comment, and it's a good comment, and with that heuristic, you might think it was a bad one. And it's indistinguishable to tell me looking at your comment and judging it as shit from me just missing it. And I imagine that's just a fantastically fun experience as a small intimate chat room experience. So just everybody know. I have a lot of mental stress from doing this job. I really do. I really feel like I'm constantly shitting the bed, letting people down, all that kind of stuff. Just have a frank conversation about success and how it feels on this side of the screen.
I don't worry about that because I know I am.
That's okay. That's because I know you don't. But that's an interesting insight because you don't worry about it because you just know. You know.
I know, and there's nothing that can be done. Like I can hold myself to some unattainable standard, or I can just give in to who I am and what I do.
God. All right. So I guess I'm the glass half failure, and you're the glass half empty failure. I don't know.
I don't know what that makes me. Yeah, but at some point you gotta say, look, I'm riding this beast. And I'm going where the beast takes me. Fuck it.
That's next level. You have a literal shit comment. That's the kind of innovation I expect from Timo Industries, honestly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're putting off the badass stuff.
Well, I'm gonna hit record.
It's all been fun and games. Like I said, I'll be monitoring chat.
I'm recording now.
Hitting record.
Are you record? Okay. Cool.
Do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, kick it off, man.
Take over the intro load.
Yeah, take that load.
Take my intro load. Okay.
We're recording this. We can't make jokes like that.
I know. Get it together. Get it together.
We're not children.
Hello and welcome to another badass podcast from the Bald Move Network, the most badass podcast network there is. We are reconvening the Council of Badasses for this summer, July 2022 badass season. Your first clue might have been some internal promotion. It might have been a tweet. It might have been the Commando feed arriving raw, wreath in 4th of July smoke in your podcast feed. But it's back. Jim, what is this Let's bring it back to the beginning for everybody that's new from last year. What is this thing with badasses? What is our obsession? What's the deal here?
You got to go way back. I mean, you got to go back to the 80s if you want the true beginning of the story, because that's when badass was the most badass it's ever been. Now you've got this refined badass. Badass was raw in the 80s. That's the way I feel about it. But now it's refined. It's something that is enjoyable on its own, but it's not quite the same. You and I used to live together, and we watched a lot of badass movies. Commando, which is the podcast that's already out. Predator, a lot of Arnold, a lot of Stallone, a lot of mid 80s to mid 90s stuff. And we thought, you know what? There are like apex predators in the badass ecosystem, of which Arnold and Stallone are probably near the top. What if we were able to quantify somehow and qualify somehow the art of being a badass down into a system. And so we came up with a 3C system to rate actors based on how badass they were. Do we need to go through the whole 3C thing? I think so. Charisma, champion,
Yeah,
and character.
Yeah, let me do, because we actually have a Google sheet
Mm-hmm.
that canonizes these rules and also gives examples of, like, because like this is always confusing when we're talking about the C's and like a 2.75 badass, all that kind of stuff. I'm stalling
The
to get
trouble,
my badass rankings document. Here we go.
the trouble being that that's all going to be kind of up in the air again this year, because we came up with some stuff last year that we, in retrospect, don't like as much, because we did this badass ranking stuff last year, and we need to change a few things. We made a fatal flaw that we'll talk about here in a bit.
So here's the rules. We got three C's: champion, charisma, character. Champion, the badass's sheer physical impressiveness. By the way, these rules apply for men and women. There is no or those that lie betwixt. There is no hard and fast rule that badass has to be a man, has to be a woman, but you don't grade on a curve. Like Natalie Portman, I'm certain she's going to be a super fucking badass in the Thor thing. I've already seen the guns. She's inching up on this champion, but she's probably never going to be a 1C champion because she's not, she just doesn't have the bulk. Like Gwendolyn Christie, she packs on 100 pounds of muscle, starts some steroid cycles. Absolutely. Absolutely. She could be on the yeah. How much? Yeah. I think she adds 100 pounds of muscle onto her Game of Thrones frame.
It's just a big ask.
She's
100 pounds of muscle is a shitload of muscle.
Hey, being Arnold is a big ask.
It's true.
Let me tell you.
That's true.
So that's a sheer physical impressiveness. Charisma, the charisma of a character or the actor as shown on the screen. Being weird doesn't cut it.
No.
That's the Nick Cage exception.
No.
Weird, off-putting energy is not charisma. Charisma is the ability to dominate, to influence, to bend the things in the film to your will. And then finally, character. That's just the character they're playing. Like, you have to be a badass in the movie. Like, if Arnold Schwarzenegger had never been in the movies, he just pumped iron, he could never be a badass on the list because he'd have 0 badass roles. This is the sheer number of times an actor has been represented as a badass in film or category. There's a range from 0 to 1 on all of these scales. For champion, 0 would be an unimpressive from either a stature or level of strength or fitness. So if you're a 7 foot tall Yao Ming type basketball player, maybe not a badass. You are super imposing from a height, but you're a beanpole. I could push you over. Correspondingly, if you are 4 foot tall and jacked out of your mind, that's going to subtract a little bit because you're just you could be picked up and thrown.
Yeah, Danny DeVito.
That would probably be a
hate
hate crime. Now that I think about it, you don't want to pick up little people and throw them.
No.
But that hurts from the impressiveness. 0.25 is a normally physically fit person of average stature or a jacked person below average stature. 0.5 is a normally fit dude of hulking stature or really ripped and thick individual of at least average stature. 0.75 is a ripped/thick individual of a hulking stature or true freak of nature level of ripped or shredded, or combination of an intense physical fitness plus legitimate speed and skill. This is like the Bruce Lee exception.
Yeah.
1, this person should stop traffic just walking around with no shirt on. They are a brick wall and an immovable object, a Mr. or Mrs. Universe, top 1% in terms of strength and mass in humanity. So that's your champion. Charisma. Charisma also, like, we started off with just, I think, the 2 C's, and we tried to think of, like, well, how do you explain Bruce Willis and, like, Clint Eastwood? Like, they might not, stop, but, like, there's something about them, right? Well, that's what the charisma comes in. 0 is a flat effect, emotionless, lone wolf, silent, and stoic types. By the way, having a 0 in any of these categories does not preclude you from being a badass. The only thing that precludes you from being a badass is not having a character. 0.25, approximate charisma that Scott Pilgrim attains at the end of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Okay? That's bare minimum 0.25C badass charisma. 0.5 dead average badass swagger, or otherwise a 0.75 plus charisma combined with weird or quirky offsetting energy, or likable but psychologically damaged characters. It's like think Amos from The Expanse.
Sure.
You know. 0.75 charisma, above average charisma or swagger, naturally gifted leaders, exceptionally facility with attraction or seduction, no offsetting quirks or psychological issues, and 1 for charisma, a person who could command a charge into hell with 0 questions asked and be expected to win, can dismiss the concerns of lesser badasses with a determined look, cannot conceivably or believably be cowed or otherwise intimidated by another on-screen presence. This is the Bruce Willis rule. Like that's him. Like you might beat the shit out of him, but he's never going to bow or kneel to you.
Or The Rock. The Rock gets there.
The Rock. And then finally character. This is the linchpin. If you don't got this, you don't got nothing. A 0 on the badass scale is 0 to 2 badass roles, none of which are iconic. 0.25 is 2 to 3 recognized badass roles, or 1 super iconic role on the level of James Bond or Batman. If you play James Bond or Batman once, you're going to make the list because that's an iconic role.
Mm-hmm.
A 0.5 is 5 to 6 badass roles, or 2 to 3 roles, at least one of which is widely considered iconic. 0.75 is 9 to 11 badass roles, or 5 or 6, several of which are iconic. And 1 is 12 plus badass roles, many of which are considered iconic. We had the corollary to this rule, which is if we don't know the movie, see if they're on the cover with a gun. And if they are, assume it's a badass role.
Yeah, this turned out to be a mistake.
It's a bad role. It's a bad rule.
It's a bad rule, and it has tainted the list. And I think that means this year we're gonna have to go back through this list and recategorize based on some kind of new judgment there, because that's tough. That gave people a lot of character points that they maybe shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, I don't like where we arrived. And here's the thing. Also, this is our list. Mm-hmm. You guys are welcome to collaborate with us, but ultimately this is a Jim and Aaron chauvinistic, like this, it's our opinion on this matters the most.
Yes.
So like if you tell us that there's someone who's badass and there's a bunch of roles and we've never seen it, then he's not going to make it on the list. Mm-hmm. You can pitch somebody, and I think there's definitely people in like foreign markets. Like I bet there's I've seen some just outrageous clips of Bollywood badassery that I would be completely on board with.
Oh, dude.
So like if you would,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like there's this particular guy that like is like this jacked fucking Chad Indian guy who's got like a cool mustache and he walks around in like a gold chain and a wife beater, and he pulls that look off. And there's this one scene he's like 5 minutes long where he's just walking down a road and guys are trying to stop him from like arresting people, and he's just that guy would probably make it onto the list. I just don't know anything about him. I've only seen the clips on Reddit. So if you guys, that's where you can be the truffle hunting badass pig for us. You can overturn those choice morsels and draw them to our attention. But ultimately, we got to see and process it to make it on the list.
Yeah, I've got a movie potentially for the next Double Dern that we do that is like 3 hours long, but it's one of those Indian badass over the top movies that we really need to see. I think it's just called RRR.
I want to get on that. Null Patrol says, I mean, The Rock has to be the ultimate example. I mean, I'm not sure if it's because some of this stuff, I'm not sure the context is.
Charisma?
The thing that hurts The Rock of charisma, yeah. The thing that hurts The Rock is the characters, honestly. He just his stubborn refusal to play badasses through his whole life for whatever reason. Like, he spent his prime doing stupid Disney shit.
He's still doing stupid Disney shit. That journey,
he really is.
Whatever. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It's just like, come on, this is your full potential? What the hell?
It's embarrassing that, like, he might not even be on this list if it wasn't for the Fast and Furious franchise, which he's not even the lead on. So,
right.
I don't know. So just to give you an example, our list, the two supreme perfect 3.0 badasses, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. And honestly, the more I see of Sylvester's core 80s work as an adult, the more I want to put a big fucking asterisk, because they never were in a movie together, and if they were, Sly would be standing on 2 milk crates to
Sure.
even look like he's in the same picture as Arnold. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's definitely like ripped and shredded like wheat in all these movies, but Sly's just the stature, man. The stature. He's a little bit of a phony badass. We might have to revisit that. That's going to be an interesting topic.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today because that's a 3C system and how it works. Today, I think what we're going to be doing is revisiting the rule about being on the cover with a gun, that stuff, but also designing a Mount Rushmore and a Hall of Fame for badasses. And I think that's super interesting because that then creates a longevity sort of thing, right? Like, it's not simply like you could go through a spurt of 10 years where you just have badass movie after badass movie. You're ripped, you're shredded, you're super charismatic, and get a 3C. But can you make it into the Hall of Fame against guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger who have played badasses for 25, 35 years, and still are in amazing shape for their age, like Sylvester Stallone. Yes, he's turning into I don't know, a very old weird looking dude, but also he's still ripped.
Yeah,
he still works out every day.
Could do it old man action movies to this day in the vein of Liam Neeson. I don't know why they don't.
70.
I guess because they're 70 and they're rich. They don't need to do this shit.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the Badass Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Bill Simmons, who is one of my podcast influencers, he wrote this book called The Book of Basketball. And the core mission was to try to identify the top 100 players of the NBA throughout the whole history, and to reimagine. He's unsatisfied with the existing Basketball Hall of Fame. He wanted to redo it, and he saw it as a pyramid
scheme.
No, as a physical pyramid that like the base floor would be like the welcome and the introduction and like the basic rules and like maybe team records and stuff. But then each level you go up would be a more and more exclusive list of players. And to the top floor would be this kind of like glass pinnacle thing, and there'd only be room for a very small number. If you ever put someone else on that floor, the person on the bottom of that list had to go be, put on the floor below them. I like that idea for our badasses because we've already got 3 levels to it. We got 3 Cs, and like there's a hard cut. Like if you're below 1, you can't be a badass. If you're between 1 and 2, you're on level 1. 2 and 3, you're on level 3. You're on the second level, and then the third level would be at the top of the building. There's just a facade, like Mount Rushmore, where these people's faces are carved.
Yeah.
So like driving into the Badass Hall of Fame parking lot, you're like Arnold's face is like and Sly's like they're impassive faces just up there gazing at you. Do you like that idea?
I like that idea. I also really love the image, which this would be different. I love the image of an ever expanding Mount Rushmore that just after 20 years has like 15 faces on it. It just gets bigger every time. That could be kind of interesting because I would really love to have a physical or maybe physical. Who knows? I'm getting a 3D printer at some point. But some sort of visual representation of the Mount Rushmore, not just a list of numbers on a spreadsheet. I would love to at some point have it illustrated.
I will say that I would spend low 4 figures to commission a 3D printed Mount Rushmore of however many badasses that we decide should be on it.
And then every time someone gets knocked off and swapped, you reprint it.
You're forced to destroy the old Rushmore, detonate it, and rebuild anew. And I got to say that philosophically, I mean, we can fight about this. Maybe it goes back to the coin of doom. But philosophically, I'm opposed to an expanding Rushmore. Like, I think we decide on how many badasses are at the top, and I like the idea of blowing it up and having to replace somebody. It should be painful to put someone on that level.
And I do like that tiered system. That makes a lot of sense. I've just been fixating on this image of an ever-growing Mount Rushmore, but that's not really what Mount Rushmore is, right? Like, well, it kind of is. They put more fucking faces on that every once in a while. It's been a long time,
dude.
But
I think they can't. Like, they're supposed to be full. They're like full, like 3/4 bust, and they just gave up at the faces. Like
yeah. They did. At one
Yeah,
point, they added to Mount Rushmore, right? It's not a static thing
that's true. And
necessarily.
they
But
have. I think they do have room for more. It's just that
mhm,
that thing's ran out of funding, and it's all kinds of
sure.
problematic because it's native land that we've defaced it to blah blah. So we're not going to have that because ours will be made of resin and
Hmm.
3D printed
I do
in our
want
own
to
homes.
physically detonate it though, and I want to make a video of it when we do it,
I
like we did
think
for the
I
Giamatti
was
heads.
brother. I think that's a fan fucking tastic idea. I would love the idea of like a ceremony
Uh,
where we blow up in slow motion the the old Rushmore, and then we commission the new 3D printer. And I think it should be like in your background or my background all the time. Like,
hmm.
yeah, I think that'd be a super cool idea.
Yeah, I really like that.
Um, do
So
we?
how
So
many
like,
people do you think should be on Mount Rushmore of badasses?
well, I'll put it this way: if we made it the Rushmore equivalent, so we have four badasses. The
Hmm.
top four badasses right now are Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and Bruce Lee.
Oh, oh.
What the fuck just happened? Okay,
I sorted. Sorry.
Right? I think that's
Uh
right.
huh. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, The Rock, and Bruce Lee.
Then you've got John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, badasses of yesteryear. Somehow Jason fucking Statham.
Hitting a 2.5. Yeah,
I think that's the guy with the gun. The guy
it
with the
has
gun
to
got
be.
him there
Yeah,
in the characters.
that's
How
the
is
problem.
this guy yeah, yeah, a one on the characters?
I mean,
I
Chev
don't know.
Chelios is not iconic, even though I love
It's awesome.
that movie and that character is great. It's just not
Yep,
iconic.
yep. He's like, cause like you have to have a dozen certified badass roles, several iconic. I don't know that he qualifies under that. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to go through and, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the top four: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, The Rock, and Bruce Lee is a defensible list.
Here's the thing I don't like about the just pure stack rank system that Bill Simmons has come up with. There isn't a lot of like subjective debate there, especially when you throw in the 3C system that we have. It all becomes
Mm,
a game of numbers, and that's kind of one of the things we don't like about ranking commission podcasts the way we do.
yeah.
Is that it can be dry, right? You give everything a number, you sort it by highest number, and that's your list. And then we have this round of like, well, I don't like that. Yes, the numbers say that, but it doesn't make sense to
You
me
need like the
in
Jack Woltz quote
context.
from The Godfather, and just so you know, it's not all dollars and cents. That
Sure.
I've got a heart. That Arnold Schwarzenegger was the greatest badass I've ever seen, and I've seen them all. Yeah, you got to have that thing you got to have the eyeball test. Yeah,
Yeah.
the nerds have crunched the numbers, but look at him. You got to have that factor for sure.
Yeah. So I think when we're talking about the Hall of Fame portion of this, which is like somehow one rung lower than the Mount Rushmore,
Yes.
you need to have a subjective thing where like I really like the music Hall of Fame stuff where it's just like every year you get X number of people that you're going to induct. We might not even need a specific number of people, but like who has earned it, who has come up in the badass ranks this year enough to where we could consider them for one of the all-time greats, as opposed to just letting going with the top 20 and they're always in the Hall of Fame and then we kick them out when they drop below it. It's I don't know. None of that feels right to me. I feel like there needs to be
So what?
something more subjective.
So throw it.
Like we would
So
come out
say
with a
that.
list of nominees, right? Like
Uh huh.
just the way that a Hall of Fame would. So we maintain this list, and we can certainly consult the list, but it would be somewhat about recency. Like if you did something exceptional this year, maybe you're considered for the Hall of Fame because it's bumped your number up so high that now you can't be ignored. Maybe it's just that we've seen more of your movies that year, your old back catalog, and appreciate you more as a badass now. There needs to be some procedure by which we nominate and then vote for, it'd just be me and you voting, but like nominate, vote, and induct people into the Hall of Fame, not just this automatic system where, they're a 2.25 now, so they're in the Hall of Fame.
So I want to talk about like recency bias and that kind of thing because here's the
Hmm.
thing I worry about. Let's say that you had a sport that used to be wildly popular, and he had a Hall of Fame for it. And then it goes through a period of decline for like the last 40 years. Hardly, anybody's playing the sport anymore. They're still keeping the Hall of Fame going because they're still a professional organization. You want to recognize excellence, but like, this is a pillow fighting sport. It was huge from 1900 to 1950, and then baseball, basketball, football took over. All the best athletes are no longer pillow fighting. They're now on the gridiron. They're now slugging
and after Lance Armstrong spiked his pillow, it was all over.
Yeah,
like, that was the downfall of pillow fighting.
It's like I worry that like because I think that's happened. Like you had this golden age of badassery in the 80s through early 90s, and then it kind of went to shit for a while. Where like Keanu Reeves could be a badass and Adrian fucking Brody could be a badass and things like that. And it kind of like these guys are like the opposite of the juiced era of basketball. They're the unjuiced era of badasses. And I don't want them just because like Hollywood decides they're done with all natural beef. I don't want them clogging up my Hall of Fame just because they're Johnny Come Latelys and they're the ones making badass films and what bad. You know what I mean? Like that's what I worry.
Yeah.
If we're too much into like, well, the kids are not going to visit our Hall of Fame if it's just a bunch of dudes that were relevant 30 years ago. Well, fuck them kids. I'm a pillow fighting enthusiast, and I only want the best of the best. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. So does that suggest that we shouldn't forcibly induct people every year? Maybe it's not something we have to do.
I like the idea that if they're like if we are not happy with the crop of inductees, we should absolutely like there's a hard cut. Like if we crunch the numbers and you're under one, like I'd have to see the argument to do it otherwise. But like if there's like a bunch of people suggesting whatever, I'd be like, nah, I don't need to induct badasses just because we're doing it every year. I feel like we're going to have a backlog for a while, but
oh yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I keep waiting for the 80s style badass movie to come back in fashion, and it kind of does in Fast and Furious and some of the stuff like that. But like it just really like big dumb action films haven't quite made a comeback yet. And they've missed several genre or nostalgia cycles. It's kind of distressing.
Yeah, I feel like Marvel's putting up the most badass on screen, just because they force everybody to be in excellent shape.
That's so true, because we are also in a golden age of badassery.
Right.
It's not like the stuff that I grew up with, but like it's hard to argue with the Chris's and the Marvel program. Like they are just churning out. Like they make a badass out of. Kamal Nanjiani. Yeah.
If you could do that, you could do pretty much anything with badassery.
It's kind of the best of times, worst of times. I wish they'd do more R-rated shit, like even like with Wolverine, what they did with Logan. I wish there was more of that in the Marvel universe. But Timo had a good suggestion. Hand out gold jackets, sports jackets like in the Masters Cup, but make them sleeveless.
Sure, cutoffs. Yeah,
and not even just ripped off. Like that's like when you put it on the Rock, the gold jacket, and the first thing he does just split, just screw he hulks out of it. Yeah, turns it into a gold vest. I like that idea a lot. Okay, here's another important thing Timo asks facetiously, but he's illuminating something important. Is David Carradine a badass despite how he died or because of it? Hard and fast rule. Badasses cannot be affected by out of cinematic behavior.
Yes.
Because Steven Seagal is a trash fire of a human being by all accounts. He's not a good guy. But he is also undeniably a late 80s, early 90s badass, you know? So like we don't grade like if you choked yourself to death while you're jerking off, not super badass way to go.
Right.
But the dude was in Kung Fu, and the dude was in Kill Bill, and he was portrayed many, many times as one of those weirdly charismatic badasses, but just on the roles alone. So like, we do not consider off-screen behavior
And that's going to be tough at times. You know, if a badass gets caught, you know, diddling kids or something, it's not going to be easy to just include them. But
I was about to say, like, Army Hammer might be a sex cannibal. Army Hammer is not on our badass list because we've never considered
probably
him.
Won't make it, yeah.
But he could be on. He's had a couple badass roles. He's got the stature. He's got a little bit of beef. He's got no shortness of charisma. Would we put a sex cannibal? Like what could get you delisted as a badass? Because I was thinking the same thing. Like, my God, if it turned out that Arnold had like dozens of well-documented cases of child sex abuse, like, at what point do you have to? This is not like being rude to women. This is not, you know,
right.
This is not, you know, having sex with your maid. This is like some truly heinous shit. Like, are we? How firm is our no off-screen hijinks? In fact, impacts the rule kind of rule.
I feel like it has to be hard and fast. You can't. You have to divorce who the person is entirely, because, like, I don't want to fucking include Tom Cruise on the list, but he's got a lot of badass roles, but he's a fucking Scientologist. I'm morally opposed to that. It's
Scientology, yeah, sure. I don't like the Scientology either, but Tom Cruise is not a sex cannibal.
Yeah, not that we know of. Not that we know of.
I like the idea of us like, I don't want to make a hard and fast, because I like the idea of us wrestling with that issue in the future. You know, like,
I feel like it's a slippery slope. If you don't make it a hard and fast rule, then what defines heinous behavior such that it would preclude you from being on even the Hall of Fame, let alone the Mount Rushmore? There's an argument to be made, an ever increasing argument, that like slighter and slighter sins can be cause for disqualification.
Well, I guess first of all, we're the ultimate arbiters. So it's like whatever, you know, however strong we want to stand fast against criticism. But the other thing is, like, do you destroy the Badass Hall of Fame by saving the Badass Hall of Fame? Like, if you take a hardline edge that turns so many people off that the Hall of Fame becomes a pariah, you know,
sure,
other badasses refuse to be inducted. Like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you're right, but it would be very interesting to see that tested with something truly, like I said, sex cannibally, pedophilic.
Yeah,
I would be challenged anyway. But yeah, if we want to say hard and fast, absolute. Right now, it is true that we do not consider any on-screen behavior when it's just in, and that's, it goes both ways. Like the guy that played, what, Hafir Thorensen, whoever the giant that played the Mountain in the final seasons of Game of Thrones, if he had never been cast in Game of Thrones, that guy is a legit fucking badass. He could split me in half with his bare hands. But if he wasn't in Game of Thrones, he would never been a badass. And as it is, he can never be more than like a low 2C badass because he doesn't have the roles. He's only got one role. Mildly iconic. So like, it goes both ways. It's only things on the screen.
He's got 2 roles now, thanks to the Northman.
Oh shit, right. I forgot he was a berserker in the Northman. God damn, that was a great movie. That blew in and out of the cultural consciousness like that.
Yeah.
All these fuckers on the internet asking, like, where's all the fucking stereotypically mad? It's all a bunch of weak, stupid shit, and it's all a bunch of minorities and POCs and well, the Northman came out and was awesome, and y'all didn't see it. So I guess you're too busy jerking off about how Miss Marvel's ruining your comic book experiences to see a true masculine treat. But
sure,
you're right.
So
we have Skarsgård on this list.
I guess that's a TBD on what disqualifies you from the list. Here's an out of cinematic universe thing that could disqualify you from the list. If you stop working out in the real world, you suddenly start dropping C's.
You say that does or does not disqualify you?
Oh, it absolutely does. Like, if you lose your champion status because of real world behavior, like Steven Seagal. I mean, he can't shrink, but he can certainly get fatter.
But does it take, like, so you say their current body is what we go by?
Well, no, I'm saying is there a scale where, like, let's say Arnold did 5 of his most iconic movies as the badass he is and was, and then he just got really out of shape, just like Danny DeVito levels of out of shape,
Yeah.
and then did 5
Or like,
more movies. Does that make him less of a champion? I argue it would almost have to.
we have a real world example, Christian Bale.
Oh yeah,
Uh, so
he's the
Christian
chameleon.
Bale is a 1.5 C badass, largely on his jacked average physique and average charisma and iconic portrayal of Batman.
Yeah.
But would he lose, like when he was filming The Machinist, and or what was the one where he like gained 75 pounds to be tubby? Would you actually go back and change his champion, like deduct a point from him? Or do you go on the historic performance? Because I feel like,
What if it's a badass role?
because I feel bad if Arnold Schwarzenegger came with a stage 4 whatever cancer and end up dying a skeleton and be like, well, we got to take him down to 0.5 C. Like, that would feel
Well, if he's making
really bad.
if he's making badass movies as a skeleton, yeah, we have to take him down, I think. Like if he turns into Adrian Brody and then makes 5 more badass movies.
So he pulls a Bruce Willis and does 5 shit movies as a skeleton to make sure that his kids are taken care of in perpetuity. I don't think he has that problem. I think Arnold's got crazy money.
I think that taints him.
But, like,
I don't know if
that,
it would taint him
taints
enough to reduce someone like Arnold enough to knock him off the top tier, but I think it would have to. It would have to.
Boy, I'd have to, like, I guess I'd have to see it before, and it would have to impact like the Rushmores of us. I mean, like, seems like all these guys are going out as champions, like, and like I said, unless something crazy happens, like some harrowing cancer, they are going to go into the grave as oaks. But I don't know if I like that. Because like that also happened. Like, Bruce Willis's last 12 badass movies were ridiculous cash grabs, or by all accounts he wasn't even mentally there.
Mm-hmm.
Do we take some C's off for that? Because he had like drooling man charisma in those movies. Like, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't feel good at all in that case. I don't know, man.
Vice. Yes, Vice is thank you for that. Vice is the movie that Christian Bale gained 2 Batmans worth of weight.
Yeah, where he plays Dick Cheney.
Yeah, I just actually put Skarsgård on the list for consideration of new inductees.
Yeah, totally.
He needs to. He's got the frame
and the mountain.
A couple of roles.
Half Thorn Bjornsson, whatever his name is, needs to go on there probably. As of
whatever the mountain's name.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I see your point, but also like. So there's nothing Arnold Schwarzenegger could do, even if he had started 15 years ago, nothing he could have possibly done to remove himself as a 3C badass. The only thing that could have happened to him is he gets usurped by more 3C badasses who become more badass and knock him off the Mount Rushmore.
I like the Badass Hall of Fame being only additive. Like, when you're doing it with Adobe, you've got the
Mount Rushmore is not going to be like that. So
no, you're right. But I like the fact that but you have subtraction through addition. Like, it's not that Arnold Schwarzenegger lost a step, because necessarily he's going to die and he's going to stop making movies and he's going to be vulnerable to being eclipsed. But I like you have to take it from Arnold. You can't just wait for 30, 40 years after he's dead and he's no longer relevant, and because that's the other thing. It's like it's entirely possible you and I will go to our graves with Arnold Schwarzenegger being a number one, because if these type of raw beef badass movies don't come back into favor, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess we need to.
I mean, I can see an argument for that.
We need maybe do we when do we have the rule clarifications? Yeah, so that's the next stream. I'm gonna write some of these down so we can actually get into it. So we say, can you lose badass points? Mm-hmm. That's something we haven't resolved. What's the other one that we're debating?
The sex pedophilia, cannibal stuff.
Oh, can any off-screen behavior put your badass rep in jeopardy? Jeopardy.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
English
no,
language is ridiculous. Jeopardy? How are you gonna? Yeah, what the fuck?
that's where he was.
Was
Was
the mountain?
the big badass in that sports ball game.
Yeah, Eric. He was in the Viking football game / wrestling match. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go back to the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Do you like the you step in on the ground floor and it's just a whole bunch of and you're looking at let's see this list. The other thing I like about the pyramid is it seems to me that as you go lower on the badass classification, there's more of you. That makes sense. Like if one of the big C's is physical, being 1% of the of the humanity, the pyramid shape's kind of naturally going to taper off. I think our existing badass canons kind of reflect that, because like if you went in on the first floor of the Badass Hall of Fame, you'd be greeted by the likes of John Bernthal, Paul Newman, Joel Kinnaman, Chris the Chris Pratts of the world. You get up into twos now you're getting into Jason Momoa, Liam Neeson, Kurt Russells. And maybe we need to, because like the thing is I don't think there's enough having 1 through 2 to 2.9, and then Mount Rushmore is all the 3C guys. I think that's not enough variation. Like we need to find where the natural breakdowns are. We have, is this going to auto count for me when I do this? I think it will.
Well, there's
If I
also
look at all the 1 through 2C badasses, there's 35 of those individuals, and if I go and look at just 2 through like Mount Rushmore, there's 24, and there's only 4 guys. I feel like we need a little bit more of a division. We need to find, that's what we need to do. We need to find like the fault lines, like where are badasses clustered together, like what kinds of badasses. Do you think there's any kind of like relationship if we look at the data? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the twos
Okay.
is too big of a, like everything 2 and up is too big of a grouping.
Yeah.
I think you almost need
Like
to stratify it in 0.25s, or at most like 0.5s at the top.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the ones that they're clinging on badass with their fingernails. I got Charles Bronson, John Bernthal, Gwendolyn Christie, James Dean. I can't think of anything that these guys are alike. Like, there's nothing that's like, these aren't the, because Gwendolyn would be a lot higher if she would do one more badass role. Like, she's got the shiny stormtrooper and Brianna Tarth.
Yeah.
She would instantly vault into the, Linda Hamilton, James Gandolfini tier if she had one more good decent role. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what are, because like in Bill Simmons, like they're like 50 through 40 is kind of like the role players, and then you've got like the 40 through 30 are like the ball move. It's like there's like different roles that you play.
So he's got
skill level.
A system here that does add by subtraction, or subtract by addition rather. We don't have that, because if you're saying nothing that they can do in their future will ever affect what they've done in their past, we only have a system of addition. So our Hall of Fame will only get bigger at the higher levels ever.
Well, no, because you artificially cap the top. They'll be like, you can only have
well, then we don't
10.
need to like cap it at a certain number, right? We cap it at or a certain like sea level. We just cap it at a number of people.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find, because I just want more than 2 floors to my museum. I don't want 2 floors in a Rushmore. I want like 4 floors in a Rushmore. And I'm like, where do I find, like what is the cutoff? Is it like from 1
I don't know. I kind of don't like the
7.5 to 2? Because you get to 2.5 and you are a real badass. Like, look at this list. You got Terry Crews, Sean Connery, Jason Statham, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, Bruce Lee. The Rock goes up to 2.75. Like, this is pretty rarefied air. Honestly, yeah, like there's a lot of twos, but getting to 2.25, it's a big cliff.
Here's what I don't like about this system is it has inherent recency bias. And I don't feel like a Hall of Fame should ever have recency bias. At least not in its history. I think it should have maybe recency bias in its selection process. But once you're in the Hall of Fame, I feel really like you should never be able to be kicked out of the Hall of Fame.
I agree with that. I think the first floor should infinitely expand to accommodate whoever is a badass. It's more of like the top. Like, so
I'm getting at more of like I'm getting at like a stack rank system that determines who's on Mount Rushmore. So you can lose your spot on Mount Rushmore, but you can never lose your spot in the Hall of Fame, and it would be more exclusive than putting the entire damn list from 1 to 3 on there.
Okay.
Like we would take a selection of people who we think have earned it as of this year and induct them specifically, even if maybe they're not the highest ranked badasses overall.
Mm-hmm.
Although it makes a lot of sense to just pick the top, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and just bring them in until we get through this list.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what I'm hearing you say is, because I think we're in agreement with anyone that's over 1.0 on the badass scale is a badass and should go into the Hall of Fame. If we've gone through and redone the numbers and we've taken out
that's what I'm
there,
arguing against. I'm arguing against the idea that the Hall of Fame would include the lowest tier of possible badasses in any shape.
Really?
Yeah. I'm arguing for the idea that nobody would be in the Hall of Fame to start with. And each year we would induct a certain number of people, just like the Music Hall of Fame.
Oh, because I thought our spreadsheet was the Badass Hall of Fame, and we're just coming up with a physical structure to hold them and how to just determine the levels of badass there are. But you're saying we start with a clean slate, and we put 5 people in the Hall of Fame each year,
right? Just like a Music Hall of Fame does.
That's interesting.
And then the Mount Rushmore is the thing where the rankings come in, and to say,
dude, we could even do a physical structure. We could actually have construct out of wood some kind of pyramidal shape, and then each year 3D print busts, 3-inch busts of the people we're inducting, and then putting them on the levels, and that would be kind of fucking cool.
I like the idea of a
and
ranked
maybe
Hall of Fame.
You have a Rushmore at the top that you actually is much less fungible, but
so you can never be kicked out of the Hall of Fame once you're inducted, but once you're in the Hall of Fame, there's this badass struggle to attain a higher and higher level.
Yeah,
and then eventually maybe
retired
get
badasses will probably never rise,
right?
Because they can't, John Wayne, it is what it is. The man died. But yeah, that could be cool
because that provides context, which I like.
And I think we could keep up with 5 a year if we 3D printed those, and it's also something that you could put one in between. You could as you go up, and as you go left or right, you descend. That'd be kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, I feel like we need to diagram this thing.
I like that. Because I thought this was going to be more of a metaphysical thing. This is a place you could imagine, but we could actually make a real structure, and it would be limited. There'd be space. There'd only be 30 slots on it. So how do we reconcile that? What happens to the badasses? Once we got a pyramid that can hold 30 badasses, once we've inducted 30.
Yeah, with the physical structure, I don't know. That's a different thing.
Do you start building different wings? Do you or do you just
right?
Because now I'm getting, if we do that, I'm kind of hot for the idea of a top 25 or top 30.
Build a structure that's two side by side pyramids.
Yeah,
2 side by side pyramids, and then in the center you have a tower. Nice long
I had the idea of
girthy
tower, like
tower.
like the Mortal Kombat progression, where you just kind of like keep like, yeah, that would be kind of neat. But I like the idea of like now, even though I don't like the idea of kicking someone off the list, I do like the idea of it being painful. Like once you get 30 guys, 30 guys and gals in there, that like adding a new one to that, it's like, well, okay, but are we saying, you know, you're going to put Jason Statham on this list theoretically, right? But now are you saying that Al Pacino is going to get kicked off?
Well, now we're back to a Hall of Fame that kicks people out, and I don't think
No,
that
I
should be a
know.
thing.
We're adjusting based on the dialogue that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
you mentioned,
I would not like that.
but so like, is the list the Hall of Fame, or is the Hall of Fame a subsection? Because I feel like you're trying to have both ways. You're wanting to do the 5-year induction clean slate, but if we're doing that with a physical structure, there's no fucking way we're going to keep adding to that physical structure.
Yeah, no, I
Even
don't
if it's
think
just
it can be a
wood
physical
prop
structure
behind us, you know.
No, I think the Mount Rushmore
Damn.
is the physical structure.
Okay.
And you have to be absolute top tier badass to make it to Mount Rushmore. You can be kicked off of Mount Rushmore entirely, but you cannot be kicked out of the Hall of Fame. Is this making sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I guess
you're just adding to an ever-growing
I
list
don't-
of Hall of Famers, like Sports Hall of Fame or whatever, right? Like,
Well, why would we blow up our badass list? Like, if we're going to do, like, if it's just a list, like, why would we blow it up and just say that we're going to do 5 a year starting in 2022? Because this list goes back to 2011. The first inductees were, you know, we're going back almost 15 years of history.
yeah, so you're proposing what is this? There's a term for this where they just like automatically induct people at the beginning of a thing. Whatever the word for that is. You're suggesting we automatically induct what, like the top everybody from 2 up or something? And then it's a conversation in future years?
Well, to be honest, all I'm doing is trying to synthesize your suggestions with what we've already. So like that's what I've been doing the last. So I don't know if that's what I want to do. I'm just saying that like I think I like that better than just starting with a clean slate, because like we have this list and I think it's a pretty good list.
We need to fix the list because we have that gun on.
We need to fix, but
but
even then, there's not that many. Like I think
Yeah.
there's stuff like Jason Statham being in the top 10, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That we need to fix, but I don't think there's like many super. I don't think like the guy at the gun was super impactful.
Some of the
but
lower
I
ranks
don't
it
know, maybe it
definitely
is.
is. And it might
Some of the
get
lower
people
ranks,
up
for sure.
up there later artificially.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now it's not super impactful. The top tier is going to be the top tier. Wow, Sean Connery all the way to 1 for character. Is that for Zardoz?
Sean Connery did a lot of badass. Yeah,
I know he did a lot of
I
James
guess
Bond.
He did, but we said that doesn't count. That's the other rule, is that like if you play James Bond 11 times,
Yeah.
you're James Bond. You don't get
Once,
11
yeah.
roles of James Bond. But he was that. He was Alan Tremaine in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was. I don't know. This might be some puffery too, because James Bond is super badass. But holy hell, if we go by our rules, character. A 0.25 is 2 to 3 recognized badass roles or 1 super iconic role on the level of James Bond or Batman. How the fuck is Sean Connery 1?
Right. Yeah, there will be some revisiting. We're doing 4 of these streams over the course of July for a badass celebration, so we will revisit this, though not today.
Yeah, that's the next stream is going to be updating existing list, making rule determinations.
Mm-hmm.
The third badass stream in 2 weeks will be considering new names to add to the canon and ranking them, and then the fourth will be the synthesis of that, where we put those new candidates in their place in the Hall of Fame and unveil our new Mount Rushmore. I don't know if we'll have it constructed yet, but we'll have our final Rushmore. I feel like we're running out of time, and we still haven't quite got this Hall of Fame idea hammered out.
Yeah, looking at chat.
Because to me, like if we ever re-rank the badasses for any reason, like the guy with the gun, and they fall off the list, that I don't mind that, because that means they were never a badass; they were a fraudulent badass.
Sure.
And also, just to point out, this is entirely ridiculous. None of this matters. It's a funsy
It's
thing
just
that we
us.
can like, argue and debate about. But yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, he was in Highlander too. Like, that's the thing. It's like I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't be surprised if Sean creeps up to 0.5, even 0.75. But like, to be a 12 plus badass roles, many considered iconic. That's why it's like going to be hard to beat Arnold and Sly, because they don't make movies like that. Arnold, fucking Predator, Conan the Barbarian, he was the goddamn Terminator, and many, many, many Terminators. Like, those alone. And then all the, like, you then start adding Commando and Red Heat and Sixth Day
Eraser.
and Eraser, and like, he's this like, he kind of, honestly, Arnold kind of is the idea of our ultimate badass,
Yeah.
and we backwards like, well, what makes him so badass, and
Yeah.
the synthesis of that gave us our list. It's just like, yeah, I think Sean might be a little bit fraudulent of a 2C badass.
So,
Sean Connery here.
okay, so if we're gonna do a Hall of Fame with inductees that are automatically inducted because of the ranking, we definitely have to wait until next week until we re-rank everybody, because On the Cover with a Gun might factor in, and we need the rules set.
Yeah, and also we've decided that we don't ever want to go with the decision because of rules that make us look ridiculous. And I
Yeah.
think you're right. We might need to hold off on. But I do think that, like, we need to think about, is it cooler to have a physical structure that stores 30 badasses, and you still have the list. So it's like, like, and you could say like everyone that's not in that physical structure is just on level 1 of the Hall of Fame, where they don't get a physical. It's just, they don't get like not everyone in level 1, they don't get the bronze bust like you see in the NFL Hall of Fame. You have to be in the pyramid before you get that. But like, it's not like you're not a badass. You're just not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You know.
No, I think the physical structure should be the Mount Rushmore, and the spiritual structure can be the rest of the Hall of Fame. I don't think
All right.
we need to go too overboard with the physical stuff.
Let's see if we can get to a consensus in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I say the Mount Rushmore should be a little Mount Rushmore. It should be an amalgam of 4 badasses, and it should be capped at 4. And we have to destroy that to make room for a new one.
I like that.
Or do we go with the expanding badasses, like some kind of,
No, I like
House
the
of
idea.
Representatives, where it expands and.
No, the idea of like physically blowing up the object and having to recraft a new one, because some very difficult threshold has been broken. Very, yeah, very hard to do.
Yeah. It does, because that's the other thing, is like the artifact of like the badass era being in the 80s and early 90s. The other sad effect of this is it really limits the options for minorities and women. Not inherently, because again, like I think, and we're starting to see, who's that kickboxer lady that was in The Mandalorian? Gina Carano. It, if she got an earlier start, and it's talking about off-screen behavior, but if she got an earlier start and did, like, more movies on the level of that. What did she do? What was the one she did with Fincher? Or wait, was it Fincher? Or was it Soderbergh? If she'd done like 6 of those movies plus The Mandalorian, she's got the physique to be like in that 0.75 range. And I don't think there's anything precluding a woman from having a 1C physique. You could get a 6'5", 6'3", 6'2" woman with like a Mrs. Universe build that's like waving machine guns around and screaming, and I'd have no problem with that. It's just like, it sucks because the last decade or two is when women and minorities have gotten a real shot at leading roles like that, and they're not making badass movies in this vein during that time.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I feel bad about, but like, I don't know if I should feel bad enough to just like put Linda Hamilton on the Mount Rushmore just because she's a super badass, and she made a movie in the early 90s, before you had the Marvel steroid cycle.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have the character to get to 3 Cs. She's got like
No,
an iconic
no, no, no,
character,
no. But like I'm saying, like you could like affirmative action her way on there if you wanted to. I just I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on Mount
Um,
Rushmore. The Hall of Fame is where I think haven't quite hammered this out, right?
yeah, maybe we can put our heads together and talk about our ruling for the next week because we'll have a couple weeks that are not as action packed as some. But so like do you like to cap the number? Do you want to keep it to Mount Rushmore 4, or I could go to 5?
Four's fine. Make it a direct
Yeah, because
analog.
4 does feel arbitrary. I like
It is,
like
yeah.
top 5, like but it'd be like having 7 people on Mount Rushmore. Like what the fuck? What kind of top 7, huh? All right, what kind of lunatic does that?
I mean, three
Um,
C's, 3 people on Mount Rushmore.
ooh.
Reduce the number.
What about this? Okay.
Because there's a genuine fight for the next spot on Mount Rushmore. I think we have 2 locks, but
What if you had 3 busts representing the C's? Arnold is the champion, Sly is the character, Willis is the charisma. But then that would never ever change. I
I mean,
like
The Rock
that
is
illustratively.
The Rock is interesting because he could potentially take 2 of those 3. He might not have the time in him left to A, take the
Yeah.
character, and B,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever going to eclipse Arnold as physical champion, but like,
Dude, I don't know. He's like he's legitimately 6'5" and
I
terrifyingly
know.
huge.
Yeah, he's
Like
big and
I
he's
think
ripped
he's
and
he's a 1. Is he not a 1C right now?
he's a 1. Yeah, for
On the
champion.
champion.
And charisma.
Yeah, like
That's what I mean. Like he could conceivably take both of those, and do we just have 2 busts of The Rock for 3 of
just
our Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, he looks like some kind of like Greek god or Mesopotamian trinity. He's just got like his wrestling face. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I like. I guess I go like 3 to 5 and 4. I mean, that's then you call it the Mount Rushmore badasses, and everybody knows what you're talking about.
yeah, I'm good with 4.
If we commission, this thing as a project, we could be like, yeah, just make it a mountain, and then put these guys' faces on it and print it in resin. We're done. Okay, so we're definitely going to go with a 4. Every time someone sneaks onto the list, we destroy it and start over. Yeah, and then the Hall of Fame will have final rulings on the next badass stream. So does that sound like a good place to stop?
Yeah.
For today. All right. Again, looking forward into the month. The next stream, we are going to update the existing list and make our final rule determinations. The next stream will consider new names. If you want to suggest those, you got to be on the live stream. I don't know. There's lots of different ways. Like if you get you could probably put them on the Discord, or if you tweet it if you tweet, I'll like be monitoring that stuff to like get new suggestions.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should. We have a badass channel in Discord, right? I'd love to hear some discussion, both about new badasses, but also about the Hall of Fame itself.
It would also be super helpful if you nominate someone, especially someone that's not well known, for you to give at least 5 or 6 roles if they have it for us to judge. Because like physique is, that's that's Google Images can get us there usually. That's one of the fun. We did a lot of Google image search last year.
Yeah.
And then the charisma is also something like you can watch a couple YouTube clips and see, but the roles are the ones that are tough, and we don't want to use the guy at the gun, guy or girl in the gun at the cover. That leads us astray. So we're going to wrap up the badass discussion. Next week we go the Asterix 3C badass Sly Stallone, Over the Top. We're gonna have a full discussion of the movie, and we'll be back next Wednesday on Twitch and YouTube to do more badass debates. Hope you enjoy our badass coverage this year, and we can't wait to get back to it next week. Until then, I'm your badass host, Aaron.
And I'm your shriveled Christian Bale host, Jim.
You got the charisma. You got that C
Sure.
coming at your ears.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. We'll see you next week.
All right. Producer, I'm gonna send this audio up to you. We're gonna record Stranger Things here in a second. Yeah. I assume.
Bounce. Yeah, can you vamp for a bit? Let me get this thing uploaded and then give me some time to
Told
cut
you,
this
I'm
down
not
to
dancing.
something.
I refuse to dance.
Vamping is not dancing.
It can be.
You could vamp. You could dance
Dance
to
to
vamp,
vamp.
sure. You could camp. You could go camp.
Camped?
Other
I
direction,
can't. Man,
yeah.
I am so fucking mosquito bite covered. I have like 15 mosquito bites.
You got ate up?
It fucking
thought you-
chewed up like I stepped under a lawnmower.
Wow, I didn't get touched at all.
I don't know why. I hate it. I'm extra susceptible to mosquito bites too. Not just getting them, but then after the fact,
Oh, you're, like,
they're
allergic to
nasty.
them?
They're like, yeah, fill up with pus and like oozing. It's like something out of a early Peter Jackson movie. It's what happens to me when I get bit by a mosquito. And I've got like 15 of them now, and they're itching like hell. 90% of my concentration is taken up just trying to not itch my body right now.
That's too bad. We had Jim and his wife over for the 4th of July. I had a backyard barbecue. I set up a cornhole board, which isn't, if you're not from the Midwest, it's not nearly as exciting and erotic as it sounds. We played cornhole for a couple hours, and apparently Jim got ate up. How did Alexis do? Did she?
She's pretty good. I think she got one bite.
You must be the sweet one.
I am.
You must have the sweet blood.
Yeah, they like it for whatever reason, and it fucks with me too. It's like, this is half the reason I don't do much stuff outside, especially around dusk, because what if I told you that every time you went outside for more than like 10 minutes at a time, you were guaranteed to get poison ivy? How often would you go out?
Well, I'm very allergic to poison
Exactly.
ivy. I bubble boy it up.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
So do you not like wearing bug spray?
I don't like it. I need to, though. I absolutely have
Yeah.
to. It's apparent to me now that if I don't, this will happen again, over and over
They've
again.
come a long way. Like I feel like in the last decade, especially, bug spray does not smell nearly as disgusting as it used to.
The old DEET stuff, is it going to give me cancer?
It's still DEET, but it's not. It's got like they found a way to like not have it smell like hell.
Gotcha.
That
That and
stuff's pretty
sunscreen.
effective.
Like I just
I
don't
thought
like the feeling of a lot of goos on my skin.
I do
Goos.
have to take a shower before I go to bed if I've had bug spray or sunscreen on.
Absolutely.
Unless I'm in a camping context. Camp, you just layer that shit when you're camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, what was I gonna say on top of that?
I might be turning into the fly.
The other thing I thought about is I got these big fans in the bait. I could have like hooked those up and blown them like where we're standing, because I think a decently powerful fan is just essentially mosquitoes can't handle. They're not especially strong flyers, and if you have just like a breeze, they're not gonna be able to fuck with you. So I think if I had those like 3-foot fans I got in the basement pointed at us on a low speed, it would also have done a good job. Or some citronella candles.
I need some patio fans, or shit, I'll bring my own patio fans. I got 2 box fans for next time.
Fans.
Because it's unpleasant. I'm
sorry about
I'm all itchy.
I was actually about to say when we came in, it's like, man, it wasn't very buggy last night. But then I heard you and like Cecily complaining. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really realize how many I got until the next day.
they're getting crazy with DEET. You can get 100% DEET now. That seems like 50% DEET will start to dissolve plastic. I don't know why the hell you'd ever need 100% DEET. That seems like if you're trying to, cut through jungle in the Isthmus of Panama or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what the hell? Badasses 2022 01 Aaron.
Oh boy.
Man, I'm reading this book that's so good right now. It's making me so tired.
The Ian M. Banks series.
Yeah, player of the game, man. It's so good.
Don't play the player, play the game. That's
So
bad
true.
advice. That's bad advice. Especially in poker. I'm gonna set up a project. Not the type you can live in.
I'm just not getting to that phase, and I'm gonna spend 5 minutes editing this feedback, and then we'll get to it.
All right. Stranger Things Season 4 wrap up. I've already forgotten everything that happened in Stranger Things. Is that possible?
Surely not. I was gratified to see that most people liked it. Like, there's this kind of, I think going into Stranger Things 4 is kind of like this, it's been off so long and I don't even remember anything, and who even cares about Stranger Things? And then like it came out, it's pretty fucking rad, and I feel like, especially Netflix splitting it up into 2 months, really did the trick. Like, it's been culturally relevant like for most of the summer.
Yeah.
I think Netflix should experiment more with that model, to be honest.
Oh my god.
Okay, what am I going to do? There are so many.
That's why I have a Stranger Things wrap up. I was like, wait, have we already recorded this? But no, they split it into 2 parts, so I would have 2 of these.
All right, nipping and tucking. I'm nipping and tucking these emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kate Bush song was probably huge in 2 summers now. Yeah, dude, that Metallica scene was amazing.
It really was. Like, I literally stood up and cheered. It's funny because I'd had I got a really nice sound system, that Sonos thing in the living room, and I had it pretty cranked. And usually I turn it down when shit like that starts happening, but I'm like, fuck no, this is amazing. I'm just laughing and carrying on in the living room, and like Cecily comes storming in. She's like, can you fucking turn that down? I'm on a client call.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, sorry, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's trying to lead a meeting, and and all this crazy shit's happening in the background.
Yep. Good stuff, man. Rankings.
Man, I tell you, Kate Bush has been huge this summer. Holy hell. Between Stranger Things and TikTok.
Oh, has she been a TikTok thing?
Oh, that has been living rent free in the timelines of TikTokers.
What?
What did they predict weeks ahead? Red Bull? I'm right there with you, Medicated Wookie. I reserve the right to bootleg any and all Metallica CDs because my mom threw away my entire collection at least 2 or 3 times growing up. So fucking Lars owes me.
Right. What? Okay. Some of these tier lists I don't even understand. Don't even understand.
What?
I don't understand.
What don't you understand?
Stranger Things season 4 tier list, updated characters. Let's see if I can do this. Is a screen share possible? I think so. I think it's possible.
I was thinking about picking up because I got to be beginner level guitar player back when I was in my mid 20s. I actually played a lot with your brother. He tutored me for a while.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like I got my
Tutored
start
all
playing
of
a
you.
lot of Metallica, a lot of Stained. Like it doesn't help that like Enter Sandman is one of the easiest goddamn things you can play. Like at least the beginning part, you know. And that's what drove me forward, like playing things I could recognize and sounded cool.
Yeah, me too.
Nirvana, lots of great Nirvana. It's just like 3 or 4 power chords.
Mm-hmm. All right, fuck it. Let's do this. Let's do this. There we go. While you're fucking around with Stranger Thing notes,
I had the same way. My mom made me
I'm gonna
take them
update
out the
this.
backyard and smash them with a hammer.
Tapes.
That's how I. Yeah,
CDs?
well, there. I think the first time was the tapes, but I'd moved on to CDs. The second time I got busted. I think I had to destroy them 3 separate times. 2 for sure I can remember because I know there's tapes and CDs. And one happened when we were because I lived in Texas for a couple of years, right before I was 13, 14. And when we moved back to Indiana, we lived in my grandparents' house for like 3 months. My mom and dad were trying to shop for a house and then fix it up to live in. And I remember, yeah, one of the destructions took place in my grandma's garden.
All right, I'm gonna do a tier list ranking real quick while you're doing that. This we need a tier. We need a shit tier. Hold on a sec.
A shit tier.
Add a row below.
Oh,
Shit
you're doing
tier.
a ranker. Okay.
No, what is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, that's D tier. This is gonna be shit tier. There we go. And this fucker goes on shit tier just right off the bat. Jason, you're on shit tier. Yuri was gonna make shit tier before he had a couple of good episodes. This guy's shit tier. This guy's shit tier. Sidekick cop, I think barely escapes shit tier. Because he's at least a lovable idiot. Well, he's not even a lovable idiot. He's fun to laugh at because he's such a doofus.
What are we sorting through here? These are Stranger Things characters?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, you do your
Who
thing.
you got in shit tier? Jason and who?
And all his
Okay,
goons.
yeah, you're right.
All his fucking goons.
All right. I gotta concentrate.
Yeah, you gotta do your thing. I'm just doing my thing.
I know. I want to.
This is one of his fucking goons too, right? I don't know who this guy is. The shit that tackled Erica is shit tier. That's the second dude in shit tier, right? I don't know. I have a hard time telling those guys apart because they all just look like. Look at these two dudes. Tell me they don't look identical. One just has a smile on his stupid face. The other has a frown on his stupid face. All right, this cop goes up to A tier. He's doing his job. Yeah, he's ineffective, but look, he's trying. He goes to B tier because I don't know, B tier. You know, he was as helpful as he could be. Old knee bomb. I don't know what his fucking name is. That's the Vecna's daddy. Chrissy or whatever your name is. I mean, you were at least cool enough to hang out with Eddie temporarily. At least go to Eddie when you knew shit was going wrong. You're A-okay in my book.
Go into the will discussion.
I mean, Eddie's S tier for me. Eddie made it to S tier when he played that Master of Puppets solo. And gave Dustin, the speech about, like, don't ever change, man. Don't ever change, because you're cool just the way you are. Everybody thinks you're a nerd? Nah. You're where it's at. And that advice would serve him well, I think, through the early 2000s to now. Yeah, Dr. Brenner can suck one. I don't care if he has a change of heart at the end. I don't care if he's dead in season 5. He's the best character. He can suck one. What's he sucking? I don't know, but he can suck it. I mean, here we've got a couple of S tier characters that I think just need to go right to the top. Right to the fucking top with Steve and Robin. Erica, right to the top for her D&D scene alone. This counselor was a bad counselor. She couldn't get any of the kids to talk to her. She gets a D. She fails. She gets held back in counselor school and has to repeat the grade. Vecna, you're shit tier. Whoa. My lights just flashed. That was scary.
Did they?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think my power threatened to go
outside.
out. Is it? Fuck.
Yeah.
If we lose power again, I'm going to start my own power company. Because fuck this.
It's the only solution. The only solution.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, there's still so much. All right, I'm gonna have to cut. Gonna have to cut.
Make cuts. All right, shit tier. I mean, these are not separate characters. What are we talking about here? Who made this list? Has the person who made this list even watched the show? All right. Add a row below. Here's what we need to do. Apparently, we need our very own